Hello and welcome back to another Outlaw walkthrough. Today we are going to be discussing the contracts tab over on the left and all the filtering you can do and just basically seeing which contracts or templates or anything that you have that are being generated or executed or in what phases they're in. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So obviously when you first come into Outlaw, you're in your dashboard and then you navigate over to contracts over here on the left. It's just that second one at the top. From here, you'll be able to see all of your contracts. You can see here in my org, we have 31 contracts going, and you'll be able to scroll through and see different data points associated with them. So up here, pretty straightforward. You can see the status. If you're using the built-in ones, as far as Outlaw comes with, you will see them over here. Maybe you have more customized statuses in your org. You'll also be able to see whatever those are called as well. You will see the title of the template or document that you are generating. You'll see the origin. Now, for most of these are generated from an Outlaw template, but sometimes if you're doing like a batch upload, the two different kinds of those, you will see those as well noted here. And most of these, for the most part, are actually pulling in from FileVine, so they're doing the whole FVDA connection as well. Then here you'll also see the parties associated. You can see that on a few of these, when it says parties, there is actually, a party variable being used, and that means that we are collecting a signature as well. You can see the date that it was last updated, and obviously you're able to sort for different things over here. You're also able to see all the owners. You can see who is actually working on this contract. And when you are an owner, you are able to come in here and say you wanted to delete one. We can see this first one. Let's come ahead actually down here. We can see that the Bind Skills team, we are a owner of this, so we can actually come in here and we can delete the contract. We can view the contract. We have a few different things we can do to actually be able to delete a contract. We can go ahead and delete this one here. You do have to be an owner of that contract, meaning that if somebody was added as a viewer or an editor, they're not going to be able to come in here necessarily because they're not the owner of the contract and delete it. So sometimes I know that's a thing that people run into when they're trying to delete out maybe test contracts or maybe just other ones that you were messing around with, is that they find that they can't delete it, that option's actually not there. And it might be because you are not an owner on that contract, so you don't have those capabilities. But let's see what else we can do when we click into a specific contract. Obviously here, we can come in and view the contract. We can see all the dates of service. We can see that this isn't filled in. That's because it is pulling from our FileVine, but these fields are pulling in blue because there's no data pulled in there. So if that ever happens to you, you just need to go back in and essentially fill in those data fields so it will auto-populate with that data. So we can see that here. We can see our signature block, and we can still see that it's in the setup phase here. Now I'm just going to navigate back to contracts here. From that same view, we can go ahead and archive this one. That just means we're no longer going to see it. It's not necessarily deleted, but maybe it's not in use and we're not too worried about that contract as well. We can also export this. You have a couple of different options, either your standard Microsoft Word or your PDF document. And then, you can check either of these depending on your needs as well. And then you would just hit export file. Another thing we can do in here is edit the tags. So we have just right now, it's currently archived is in use. But if we wanted to add another tag and say, we can come in here and basically type anything you want. And now we can see both of those are added here. And this one is just in use by another document, but it's not in use by ours. If we wanted it to be in use, we can go ahead and select it. You can see now that this both showed up as test and archived. For this one, I'm just going to get rid of it, and then we are good to go there. Oops, didn't mean to click into that. But you can see that our test tag is still showing up there. Now, if you wanted to come in here and mass select all of your contracts, maybe you wanted to delete them or edit them in some way, you can come here, you can mass archive. You're also able to export as a CSV. Now, the reason that I can't delete all of these is because some of them I am not the owner, so then I'm just not able to mass delete those. But you typically can come in here and you can delete a few, or you can also manage the users from here. manage who is involved in this, and then add or remove their permissions or other things like that as well. So now that we've kind of talked about this contract overview, and we can come over here and talk about the filters. So if we navigate up here, you can see these are some of our saved filters. We used this in a previous video to make some dashboard reports, but if we wanted to start fresh, we could just come here and we can start maybe selecting the team that we're a part of. Sometimes you're part of multiple Outlaw orgs. So here you would need to define which Outlaw org you're interested in making this filter for. Then you want to choose your status, if that's something that you want to pull into your filter. Maybe you want to see everything that's in the setup phase. This is a filter that we completed previously. So let's go ahead and do maybe ones that are in the draft phase. I can see that I have one, and then we can come over here. We're also able to update any of this information that has to do with the date. You can come over here, is equal to, is between, or is dynamic. And then you can select one of these preset options to filter there. The same is true for this created on. You're going to have the same drop down of options as well, in case you wanted to see maybe contracts within, a 30-day period or something like that. You can also filter on your tags. You can see that this is the test tag that we added, and then the archive one is also built in. You can also filter on users. So as you can see here, I can type in Vine Skills, or maybe, I can type in Harry Potter, or, any of these, and I can actually filter on those as well. I can also filter on a specific template. Maybe I just want to see when the medical authorization has been run, and then you can come up here and check that out as well. You can also filter on your variables, because once you select a template, it's saying, okay, these are the variables within that template, and then you can filter on those as well. These are all the options you have that you can actually go through and check those as well. And then when you're ready and you've made all your selections for your filter, you would just hit save. And then you would give it a title, whatever you want to name it, and then the visibility. If you just want to share it with you, maybe this is just a filter that you're going to be using, not really your team or your company, you can just go ahead and share with me. If this is something beneficial for your whole team, you can go ahead and hit share with team there as well. I'm not going to save that filter because it's just a little demo, but that is how you do it there. And then you can also come up here and manage filters. If you did have a specific one saved, you can see in our sandbox here in our org that we have a couple of different filters saved. And anytime you click on the three dots, you can come and rename this or delete, and that's how you can manage your filters as well. Now let's just go ahead and clear this one because we're not going to need it. From here, you also have a few options for your contracts. You can upload a new contract here directly. This is great maybe if you're not in FileVine yet and you're just a client that's needing to upload a one-off contract. You can come in here and select that as well. You can also choose one of the templates that it's going to be essentially based off of and pulling from. And then you can choose which status you automatically want to put this contract in. So you have a couple options here, and these are the predefined ones from Outlaw, but these are customizable. So if you say maybe setup isn't the right language you want to use for your firm or your company, you can come in here and you can update that as well. So these are all the different options, and then you would just hit upload there as well. You can also select over here and generate from a new contract. So you can either generate from a template that you already have, which in our sandbox, we have quite a few here. Or if you wanted to generate from scratch, maybe this is going to be a blank document, you could come in here, you could just name that, we hit create, and then it will just basically create a brand new blank contract for you that you're able to start manipulating and coding from here. All right. Well, I think that covers it for our contract section, so I hope you guys found this helpful.